welcome to Consult 101. Today we have the stud alums of Insti, Saarthak Marathe and Aayush Raj. There's no need of introduction of them, but just for the sake of it, can you guys put your intro and then we'll get into the case.
Yeah, sure. I'll like to go first. My name is Saarthak Marathe. I'm a dual degree student graduating this year, BTech in Mechanical and IEEE Data Science. I was also the Secretary of International and Alumni Relations, and I'll be joining BCG as an associate.
Great. I'll go next. So, hi guys, I'm Aayush. I did my BTech in Metallurgical Engineering, and I also completed a minor in Applied Economics, if that's a flex point. And I'll be joining Bain this August. And in my NC life, I founded the Case Club and headed it for 1 year, the last year. Yeah. Right. So guys, I'll be interviewing Saarthak over a profitability case. Please, and we will be attaching his notes as well, so you can check the YouTube comments or the description. I don't know, whatever it is. Do like, follow, and subscribe.
And now there.
and press on the bell icon to turn on notifications. So no, keeping the jokes apart, guys, this video is sort of a guide for you to understand how exactly an interview takes place. So you might have seen the case, because this case that we're picking is there in the ITM casebook. So, but rather try to focus on how Saarthak approaches the case, how it will help you answer all the common queries that you have. How many breaks can we take? What should be the length of every break? Can Saarthak ask for help from me? The answer is yes. He can ask as much help as he wants. You can also look at how I am interviewing him, how I am trying to guide him and put him on the right track. Because at some point of the case, he will mess out something and he will go off track. So what we want you to understand is that even though you go off track in some part of the case, that's completely fine. Saarthak, do you want to add something?
No, I think you more or less covered everything. I think we can start.
Cool. So, Saarthak, ready when you are?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So let's get started. Saarthak, your client is a ski resort in Switzerland, and they have been facing an issue with their decline in profits, and they need you to help them out, figure out why.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. Just to see if I got it right, our client is a Switzerland-based ski resort. They have seen a decline in their profits, and they would want us to identify what led to it and also potential ways to.
Absolutely.
Right. So over here, I'll just like to take a few moments to understand and potentially ask you if I have any questions.
Cool. Take it.
Okay. Right. So, firstly, I would like to understand more about the problem itself. So, you say that the profits have reduced. Do we have a particular duration over which this has happened?
Let's say it's been happening for 6 months now.
6 months. All right.
Yeah.
And was this decline over the 6 months steep, or was it consistent over the 6 months?
Well, it has been sort of steep, because in the last 6 months we've seen an overall decline of around 30%.
Right. Right. And when you say past 6 months, are we considering the pandemic situation, or are we discarding it?
I think for this case, let's discount COVID.
All right, makes sense. So I would like to understand more about our client itself. So when you say ski resort, are we talking about a single standing resort, or are we considering like a chain of resorts over Switzerland?
That's a good question. For this case, let's just take one resort.
Okay. And I would like to understand about the business model, essentially like the revenue streams that they have. Usually ski resorts have skiing, like adventure sports as one of the revenue streams, apart from lodging and hospitality.
Right. Well, yeah, that's majorly it. Apart from that, there is some, event management as well. So banquet halls, corporate halls, and their events. That's it.
Makes sense. And I would like to understand about the channels through which they get their bookings from. So how do they go about doing it? Usually, let's say hotels or resorts in general, they depend on pre-booking and they do on the spot booking as well. Do we follow a similar scheme over here?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. So we are present on all the, hotel aggregators platforms, and we have our own app as well because we're like a big resort.
Makes sense. Okay. Right. I would like to understand about our customer demographic that we cater to. So, are we open to all? Are we only, limited to Switzerland nationals, or are we open to everyone which are international?
Well, to be honest, we're in business, and we will not stop anyone from, coming to our resort.
Makes sense.
But yeah, to help you out here, most of our customers are, of course, tourists, but we do have, businessmen as well. So there's no cap as such.
Right. So even though we get business customers, majority is to tourism because it's Switzerland and it's a ski resort.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. I would like to understand about the industry, the resort industry in Switzerland. So, how has the industry been doing over the past 6 months? Are they facing similar issues, or they're doing good?
Well, the decline has been sort of similar for them.
Sorry, I could not get you. The decline has been.
Sort of similar for them.
Okay. Oh, it's interesting. So the other partners or the other competitors are also facing this particular issue that we are facing.
Yeah.
And how are we placed as compared to our competitors or other players in the market?
Well, we don't have the exact data, but you can say that we are a very big name.
Okay, cool. And the geography at which we operate, is it one of the popular tourist spots or is it one of those niche spots where people go to once in a while?
Hmm. Good question. Let's say it's like, the most visited place in Switzerland.
It's the most deserted place.
Visited.
Visited. Okay, the exact opposite. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's the most visited place, then I'm assuming we get customers all around the year. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
okay,
fair.
I think I pretty much understood the problem and the background about it. I would like to take a few moments over here to see how we could structure it further and analyze it.
Sure. Take it in.
Okay. So I would like to divide the profits um, as the revenues minus cost. And firstly, before we dive deeper into either one of them, I would like to understand if we have you seen any trends with respect to either of them.
Right. So yeah, the revenue has seen a steep decline, while costs have more or less remained the same.
All right, so I would like to go deeper into the revenues streams because it wouldn't make sense to do that in costs because they have remained more or less the same.
Makes sense.
Right. So I would like to, equate revenue as the number of services into the revenue per service.
Okay. So when you say services, what do you mean?
I mean, so services are basically the services availed. So services could be further broken down as number of visitors into services per visitor into the revenue and it multiplied by revenue per service.
Got it. Do you think it will be a more efficient approach if we just, sort of divide the revenue streams here and focus on the particular revenue stream that has.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was planning on doing that after we, look into the services, but that's completely fine.
Got
So, as you said, our major revenue streams were lodging, the adventure sports skiing, and event management.
it. Right. So when you say lodging, you mean the room and the associated services, right?
Yeah.
Well, so we did check our accounts, and yes, the lodging seems to be the problem.
Okay, that's interesting, but the others remain the same, is it?
Yeah, yeah, sort of. I mean, they have taken a hit,
Okay.
but we believe lodging is like the major problem here.
Okay, lodging has reduced drastically.
Yeah,
Others not so much. Okay, makes
not so.
sense. So, I would like to go deeper into the lodging part.
Hmm.
Um, so lodging is directly proportional to the number of rooms that are given out over a period of time, right?
Correct.
So I would like to divide lodging as number of visitors
Hmm.
into rooms per visitor.
Rooms per visitor, okay.
Yeah, and into the revenue per room.
Into the revenue per room. Got it. Are you? Do you think you're missing a dimension here, like a metric?
Let me think about it. Just give me a moment.
Yeah, yeah, take it. In.
So when I say revenue per room, I not only mean the rent, I mean the price that they pay for the room, but also the hospitality services, which includes the other breakfast, food, and everything.
I understand. Yeah. I mean, I did get that, but yes, you are still missing one factor.
Okay, just give me a moment for that.
Well, to help you out, I mean, it's not such a big deal. So basically, when you go to some place, do you just stay there for a day?
Right. No. So it's into the number of days that the room has been occupied
Correct.
for.
That's it.
I included in the rooms per visitor because we are doing it over the year, right? So that
Okay.
also kind of included the number of days we were staying for. But okay,
Makes
that's
sense.
completely fine.
Okay, fine. Then it's fine. All right. So, well, I think it's like, the people who are coming, they're still staying for the same duration. That has not changed. And we haven't sort of reduced our prices for the rooms. And it's not like they are not availing hospitality services from us as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the major change that I can see is in the number of visitors.
correct. Correct.
And when you say the hospitality services remain the same, you also mean that the number of rooms per visitor have remained the same.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, if we have seen a decline in the visitors, and you also say that the industry has been facing similar issues, then this could be a Switzerland-wide problem, right? Because the whole industry is facing this particular issue of
Correct.
and assuming that we have boiled down on visitors, that means that the other competitors are also facing problems with respect to visitors.
Absolutely.
Right. So I would like to take a few moments over here to structureize my thoughts and see how we could analyze, this issue of reduced number of visitors further.
Sure, sure. So guys, like tell Sarthak things and structures his thoughts. Like I just wanted to you to take a note of something. See how we are discussing, everything at every step. He is taking my inputs. And it's not like we are aligning on same thing. Somewhere he's not able to explain something, somewhere I get something wrong. And that's how a typical case proceeds and should proceed. It's a collaborative effort, it's a discussion. Start viewing case interviews as a discussion rather than a viva. So yeah, just take note of this.
Right. So, the number of visitors that we are getting, I would like to divide it based on geography.
Okay.
Okay. So the geography that I'm talking about is as simple as if we are getting visitors from Switzerland and visitors from outside. So I would like to call them as external visitors and second are internal visitors.
Got
So
it.
have you seen any changes in either one of them?
Yeah, I mean we have people from within Switzerland visiting us. No problem.
Right, right. And have you seen any changes with respect to either one of them? Have both gone down or at any one particular area been targeted?
Well, so I mean based on your input, we did do some research, and what we figured out is that there are the same number of internal visitors that are coming, and when we move to external also, we have people from Europe and Asia still coming in,
Okay.
but the major crowd that used to come from North America, we have seen a straight decline there. Like the numbers have reduced drastically.
Interesting. Okay. Okay, so this just tell me that the accessibility for Europe and Asia has remained the same, but the accessibility for or willingness or accessibility both for North American tourists have reduced. So
Yeah.
I would like to further divide the tourists for North America based on the accessibility and the willingness. And I would like to, dig deeper into it. So I'll just like to take a few moments for that.
Yeah, sure. Take
Hmm. Okay. So the problems with respect to the North American tourists could be divided into three major brackets. First is the accessibility. Is Switzerland accessible enough as it was before for them? Second is willingness. Do they even if they can go, do they really want to go? And affordability, like is it affordable for them to actually go to Switzerland for tourism.
Hmm.
So have you
Well,
seen any changes in any of these three factors?
yeah, well, that's a fair split. Yeah, to be honest, we don't have the data, so let's check. You started with accessibility, right?
Yeah.
So I think we can check, and what we checked and what we found out is that there are same number of flights. I mean, there has been no change in terms of the number of flights that are flying.
Right.
And similarly, even there's no change going on in the US airports as well. And our embassy also seems to be doing fine in US and other North American countries. So I don't think access is a problem. Moving on to willingness. Well, to do that, we conducted sort of a survey among North Americans, and the survey was very optimistic, and that is sort of surprising. I mean, if you can come, if you want to come, then what is the issue? So, going by your structure, I think we should dig deeper in affordability.
Right. So affordability could be divided into two major factors. One is, the cost that that the customer faces before it reaches Switzerland, and the cost in Switzerland. So I would like to, take a moment over here to structureize this a little further.
Yeah, that's a very good thought process, Sarthak. I'll just help you out here. The costs inside Switzerland have not really changed, so you can focus on the part before that.
Okay. So for cost before Switzerland, I would like to follow a customer journey, right? What does a customer go through before they go about, coming to Switzerland? The major costs involved are in the booking period. So they majorly go about booking of the flights and also about for the resorts and first and with respect to either one of them, with respect to flights, the costs are cost to the airport, then the ticket price, the miscellaneous price at the air, food and beverages, and the airport to destination of Switzerland. And the resort prices are the only booking related prices that they have to pay at this point. So
Fair.
uh, what I would like to understand from you is, have you seen any changes with respect to the booking prices for resorts or flights overall?
Got it. Well, that's a fair split. I think after checking, we can safely say that the ticket prices are high, unusually high.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So the ticket prices could essentially be divided into three major parts, right? First is the base price of the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Second is any services that the customer wants to opt for, and the last is the services include food and beverages, seat choice, and everything. And the last one is the taxes that the person has to pay. So, have you seen
Got
any
it.
changes on any three of them?
Well, yeah. So the U.S. government, in particular, I mean, all the other North American countries are also doing this, but U.S. government in particular has unusually increased the taxes on flying. Like I think it used to be close to 2 to 3% previously. It's now a harsh 45%.
Oh, that's a huge jump. Um,
Yeah,
any particular reason for this? And is it only specific to Switzerland or is it across all their flights?
it's across all their flights. So in fact, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's across all the flights. In fact, that is why the tourism in US has completely, people are not flying only. It's not just for Switzerland, but for all the European countries and the world.
Okay.
And there is, I mean, no particular reason that we are aware of. At least I think it's just some other Donald Trump thing that's happening
Okay.
there.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. So I think we have boiled down to our major problem.
Mhm.
So going forward, I'll just like to come up with few potential ways to solve this issue. If our client can take up any other routes or try to solve the issue with the
Yeah,
North
yeah, cool.
American customers.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
do
just
that.
give me a few moments for that.
Cool, cool.
Okay. Right. So, I would like to divide my, potential solutions into three major brackets. First is how we could benefit and, capture the North American customers. Second is how we can increase our revenue streams through customers. And third is how we could potentially look into other revenue streams.
Got it.
So the first one for the North American customers. First among it is that we could go to them, like we could potentially provide virtual experiences that people feel through Switzerland, and we can give monetize that experiences. Second, we could potentially give discounts in the booking of the resorts, essentially trying to compensate for the high taxation and bringing down the overall cost for the customers and getting bulk North American customers through that price point. Third would be we have uh, deals with different countries or different resorts altogether, essentially cumulatively bringing down the cost, but we don't get hit as much. And the fourth, last thing that we could try is as the whole industry is facing this particular issue, we could go to EU and UN and appeal that this has been hampering the tourism industry, which essentially runs the economy for a lot of European countries and Switzerland, for example.
Got it.
Uh, Second part of the solution is that we could double down on the European and Asian and African clients by giving them lucrative deals with respect to flights and other services that they have, and do extensive marketing over there. Essentially, making up for the loss of customers. And the last one would be we could look into other revenue streams. You said we focus mainly on lodging, skiing, and event management. We could potentially look into other streams of medical tourism and other aspects that are related to it, and even food tourism for that matter.
Fair enough. Yeah. These are some nice suggestions. So, how about you quickly synthesize the case for us?
Yeah. Okay. So our client was a ski resort from Switzerland. Then they had seen a decline in their profits over the past 6 months. The major reason for that being that the customers from the North American continent had been reducing given the high taxation in their airfare. Potential ways to solve this could be by reaching out to the North American customers through virtual experiences, giving them discounts and package deals to compensate for the high taxation. And as a country, Switzerland could appeal to the UN and EU. We could also double down in the for the European and Asian clients and look into other revenue streams like food, medical goods.
Awesome. Fine. I think that was great. We can end the case here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, how do you feel you did?
Um, I feel like I feel the number of questions that I asked in the preliminary were a bit high. I could have avoided the sales channel question and not repeat a part of what I said, a part of what you said exactly as it was, because that is not really appreciated in an interview. Coming to the structure part, I did miss out on the number of rooms, so I should have been more clear about that in the visitors parts itself. So the visitors into the number of days for per visitor into the room and so on. After that, I think it was pretty straightforward. It went smoothly. In the synthesize, when I did the synthesis, during that part, I could have been a bit more crisp while I was going through the recommendations by putting each of the points in a singular line as compared to when I did it in 2 or 3 lines.
Got it. Yeah, I think you've covered it. I think synthesis was fine only. I mean, you still covered the synthesis in under 45 seconds, and that is the recommended time. So I think that was great. I think so. I've done like a couple of cases with juniors. They really find it. They really struggle to synthesize. Do you have some tips for them?
Yeah, so to do it in the last time that I did it in, just think of it from this point of view. What are the major things that you did in the case? So your major thing were the stakeholders, which are the ski resorts. They are in Switzerland. Basically, the problem statement. They have a declining profits. What was the major reason that led to this problem? Directly go to it. Don't go through the steps that you went through, because if you are actually facing a client, they don't want to know the steps. They want to know the problem. So you directly go to the problem. So after I mentioned the problem statement, I directly went to the issue, which was the North American visitors, and then you directly move on to recommendations. If there are two problems, you go on to the recommendations by firstly saying what the problem was and recommendations to it, and then the second problem and recommendations. I think the major aspect of the synthesis should be taken up by the recommendation, which is about 30 seconds of it, and 15 seconds should be taken up by the rest problem statement and the issue.
So problem statement, root cause, solution. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Not more than that. Do not explain anything else, because you did that already in the past 20 minutes.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. So moving on to Sarthak's feedback. Uh, I think prelims were fine. Yes, he did ask a couple of extra questions, but in general, in an interview, these things don't really matter, is what my experience is. I mean, these are small things. Of course, you should take care of them. But yeah, uh, yeah. After profits, yep, there was a small hiccup in revenue. But I think what you guys can learn from here is it does not matter again. Like he listened to the cue that I gave, like the hint that I gave, and he quickly acted upon it. So instead of being stubborn on his approach, he just quickly adopted to what the interviewer wanted, and that's like a very positive skill.
And
Um,
one point to add over here is, let's say, even though the way I was going before would have led me to the same problem, it would have taken one extra step than what Ayush suggested. But when you are saying yes, we should go forward with your point of approach, you still back why you were going forward with what you were, right? So
right.
that it doesn't seem that you were completely wrong, and it shows that you were thinking something and you would potentially
Correct.
reach there. Yeah.
fair. Uh, After you figured out the problem is from North America, one additional step that I would have put is total people who travel from these regions into percentage that visit Switzerland. So there only you would have figured out that they're not just going to Switzerland, but they're not traveling anywhere. So that would have given you sort of a cue that it's like a national level problem.
Yeah.
So that is one thing, but again, you eventually figured it out, and that's what counts. So that is okay. After that, I think the case was very smooth. Access, affordability, and the framework that you used was spot on. An alternate framework there that I used was willingness and ability, which is very similar to what Sarthak did, but just a different name. And yeah, I think even the recommendations were spot on. One additional recommendation that I got from my interviewer was we can also look at other markets. We can focus on where our next set of customers coming from. Let's say if it's Asia, we start targeting Asia. So that. But yeah, I think apart from that, uh, the more important parts of a case interview are communication and confidence, and there you were spot on.
Right. Yeah. I think we can end over here.
Yeah, thank you guys for your time.